Hello there, Toon Army. Absolutely cracking day to talk about our beloved Newcastle United, isn't it? The sun's shining on St. James Park, and there's plenty to discuss as we look ahead to what promises to be another exciting season for the best team in the world. What do you think about Chris Rigg's confession that he's now a committed Sunderland supporter, despite coming from a family of Newcastle fans? And how would you feel if James Trafford joined our ranks this summer, but demanded guaranteed first-team football ahead of our current keepers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Sunderland warrior Rigg reveals Newcastle fan background. Well. Here's something that's sure to get the blood pumping. Young Sunderland midfielder Chris Rigg has been making waves on Wearside, and there's been plenty of chatter linking him with a move to St. James Park. The talented 17-year-old has been turning heads with his performances for the Black Cats, making an impressive 44 appearances across all competitions during the 2024-25 season. What makes this story particularly interesting for us Newcastle supporters is that Rigg is Hebburn-born and comes from a family of devoted Toon Army members. That's right, the lad grew up supporting our beloved Newcastle United, but now he's coming out and declaring his love for Sunderland. It's enough to make your Newkie Brown go flat. In a recent interview, Rigg made it clear where his allegiance is. Now lie, stating, "Sunderland are my club, I've been here my whole life." He went on to explain that while he comes from a family of Newcastle supporters, his feelings changed when he started playing for Sunderland. It's a bit like finding out your favorite shirt is actually red and white, isn't it? What's perhaps even more shocking is that Rigg claims his dad, a lifelong Newcastle fan, has been converted to the dark side. According to the youngster, his father now attends all Sunderland matches and has become what Rigg calls a secret Mackem. I'm not sure about you, but I think that calls for the revocation of his Geordie card. All jokes aside, it's not surprising that a player would develop strong feelings for the club that gave him his first opportunity. Rigg has been at Sunderland his entire career, and it's natural that he'd feel a connection to the club and its supporters. Still, it's a bitter pill to swallow for any Newcastle fan to hear one of our own declare love for our fiercest rivals. The midfielder has certainly been impressing during his time at the Stadium of Light. He's notched up 4 goals this season and has been described as a warrior by former manager Tony Mowbray. Some have even gone so far as to compare him to Manchester United legend Brian Robson. High praise indeed for such a young player. With Sunderland potentially joining us in the Premier League next season, if they navigate their way through the Championship playoffs, we could see this Newcastle-born talent lining up against us at St. James's Park. Now, wouldn't that be a sight? The reception he receives from the Gallowgate end might be, shall we say, a tad frosty. Newcastle aren't the only club showing interest in Rigg, with several other Premier League sides reportedly keeping tabs on his development. It raises an interesting question for us fans. Would you welcome a self-proclaimed Sunderland supporter to Newcastle United, even if he's clearly talented? Or would his Mackem connections make that too difficult to swallow? From a purely footballing perspective, Rigg looks to be developing into a fine player. His stats show he's contributing both defensively and in attack, with 1.2 tackles per 90 minutes and 1 key pass per game on average. For a 17-year-old to be putting up those numbers while starting 38 games in a championship season speaks volumes about his potential. If there's one thing we know about Newcastle United under our current ownership, it's that we're building for the future. Signing young, talented players with huge potential is exactly the kind of transfer business we should be doing, but would Rigg's heart ever truly be in it if he joined the Magpies? Or would he always be looking across the Tyne with a sense of longing? Whatever happens with Chris Rigg, one thing's for certain. The Newcastle-Sunderland rivalry remains as fierce as ever. If the Mackems do make it to the Premier League, we'll have the chance to show them who truly owns the North East. And maybe, just maybe, we might see Rigg in a black and white shirt one day, with his allegiances firmly back where they belong. Right then, Toon Army, let's shift our focus to what could be one of the most exciting transfer stories of the summer for Newcastle United. James Trafford, Burnley's brilliant young goalkeeper, appears to be on our radar once again after we reportedly tried to sign him last season. The 22-year-old has just enjoyed a stellar campaign with the Clarets, helping them secure promotion back to the Premier League under Scott Parker. His defensive record has been nothing short of phenomenal, conceding a mere 16 goals throughout the season, while boasting the best save percentage in the championship. Those are the kind of stats that get football directors reaching for their checkbooks. What's particularly intriguing is that despite Burnley's return to the top flight, Trafford seems keen on a move to St. James Park. Now that's what we like to hear. Players actively wanting to join the best team in the world. It shows just how far we've come in recent years, doesn't it? From struggling to attract talent to having top players banging on our door. However, there's a rather significant catch to this potential transfer. According to reports, Trafford's representatives have made it crystal clear to our sporting director Paul Mitchell that the goalkeeper will only join Newcastle if he's guaranteed a starting spot between the sticks. That's quite the demand, especially for a young keeper looking to break into a team with European ambitions. Trafford certainly doesn't lack confidence, having previously described himself as world-class. Based on his performances this season, you'd be hard-pressed to argue with that assessment. The lad has been so impressive that he's earned England call-ups despite playing in the Championship, a testament to just how highly rated he is in footballing circles. But here's where things get complicated for Newcastle. Guaranteeing anyone a starting position, regardless of form or fitness, is a massive decision for any club. It's not just about the principle either. There are financial implications to consider. Newcastle's highest-paid players are currently earning between $120,000 and $160,000 per week, with Bruno Guimaraes topping the wage bill at around $160,000 weekly. If Trafford were to join on terms that reflect his world-class status and guaranteed starting position, he'd likely command a salary that puts him among our top earners. That's a significant investment for a player who, while undoubtedly talented, is still relatively unproven at Premier League level. Then there's the question of our current goalkeeping situation. We've got a solid group of keepers already at the club, and bringing in Trafford with a guarantee of first-team football would certainly ruffle some feathers in the dressing room. It's a delicate balancing act for Mitchell and the rest of the recruitment team, strengthening the squad without disrupting team harmony. Manchester United are also reportedly interested in Trafford, which could potentially drive up both his transfer fee and wage demands. It's the classic transfer market conundrum. Do we pay over the odds to secure a potentially world-class talent, or do we stick to our guns and refuse to be held to ransom? One thing's for certain, Trafford would be a fantastic addition to our squad if we can make it happen. A goalkeeper who concedes just 16 goals in a championship season doesn't come along every day. His shot-stopping abilities, command of his area, and distribution skills would all be valuable assets as we continue to build a team capable of challenging at the very top of English and European football. The decision ultimately lies with Paul Mitchell and the Newcastle hierarchy. Do they see Trafford as the long-term solution between the posts? Is he worth both the financial investment and the potential disruption to the squad dynamic? These are the tough calls that determine the success or failure of a club's transfer strategy. From a fan's perspective, it's hard not to get excited about the prospect of signing such a highly rated young English goalkeeper. There's something special about having homegrown talent in the squad, players who understand the culture of English football and can grow with the club over many years. Trafford certainly fits that bill, and at just 22, he could be Newcastle's #1 for the next decade or more. So, what do you think, Toon Army? Should we meet Trafford's demands and bring him to St. James's Park? Or would you rather we look elsewhere for goalkeeping reinforcements? It's going to be a fascinating summer of transfer activity, and this is just one of many exciting stories we'll be following with bated breath. Well, that's all from St. James Park for today, lads and lasses. Keep supporting the best team in the world, and I'll be back with more updates soon. Remember, through thick and thin, we're Newcastle United, and we never say die. Away the lads.